All right, so good morning, everybody. I do thank you all for joining me here today at City Hall. I appreciate the members of the media, some of our staff here, as well as members of our city council that are standing behind me to be part of this historic moment of our city. Today, I want to speak directly to the people of Holyoke about the steps we are taking to achieve good governance. Our press briefing today is in direct response to concerns people are hearing about Holyoke's fiscal stability, and more importantly, to communicate to Holyoke exactly what we have been doing since taking office, where we are today, and also share most recent steps achieved to help with systematically restructuring how we're managing our resources to secure a stronger and more stable financial future for our city. First, I am proud to announce that the Holyoke City Council has finally passed the Municipal Finance Modernization Act, and shortly I will be signing the order as a final step in the process to make the act law. This landmark legislation, which the city treasurer and myself, together with our HR director and our city solicitor and our council president, Tessa Murphy-Ramboletti, the Ordinance Chair, Councilor McGrath Smith, Finance Committee Chair, Councilor Devine. They've championed, working closely with other councilors. This landmark legislation represents a major step forward in how we handle our city finances. In a moment, we're going to hear from our legislatures, the Chair of the City Council Finance Committee and the Chair of the Ordinance Committee, as well as our interim City Treasurer. But first, I want to say this. The Act specifically modernizes our financial operations by centralizing key functions under new Department of Finance, led by a qualified Chief Administrative and Financial Officer, or CAFO, which, by the way, I finally got to post that position, so I want this news to go far and wide across the Commonwealth of Massachusetts to any person looking for a challenge and for a new opportunity to apply and consider the city of Holyoke. The Act consolidates scattered responsibilities, it strengthens internal controls, it reduces liabilities, it aligns our practices with long-standing recommendation from the state's Division of Local Services. I do want to give a quick shout out and thank you of the patience from our friends at the DLS who have been following this for over 20 years. These changes are going to improve efficiency, enhance accountability, enable better financial forecasting, support a robust capital improvement program, and ensure that we are making informed decisions that benefit our community. And best of all, it's nearly budget neutral, saving the city about $100,000. This reform, I have to say, it wasn't an easy one. It followed extensive debate, committee review, and a close vote in the past with the old council. But with this new council, mandated by Holyoke voters, ultimately came together with an 11-2 approval to prioritize progress. It builds on other important steps we've taken, like adopting the financial management policies that the council ordained and the voter-approved shifts to an appointed city treasurer. With this act, we look forward to consolidating the treasurer and collector and to also bring on board a comptroller and finance analysts, while also shifting responsibilities to right-size our management of specific functions. Lastly, these changes strengthen accountability and offer better oversight balance between the executive and the legislative branch of our government, ensuring accountability of each other. So together, these efforts address issues that have challenged our city for years and will position us for long-term fiscal health, even well beyond us who are elected today. Looking ahead, these changes mean better stewardship of taxpayer dollars, stronger safeguards against errors or inefficiencies, and greater confidence from state partners and rating agencies. To say the least, I am extremely excited. This was something I campaigned on when I ran for city treasurer and lost. It's something that I campaigned on when I ran for mayor and won. 4 years later, here we are, finally able to bring forward, pass this Municipal Finance Modernization Act for reasons you're going to hear from my colleagues in government behind me. And so first, what I'll do is I'll invite up Chair of Ordinance, Meg McGrath Smith.
Thank you. My name is Meg McGrath Smith. I'm the Ward 7 City Councilor for Holyoke and the Chair of the Ordinance Committee. Today's vote, this past vote matters because it closes a loop that has been open for decades. For more than 20 years, across 4 mayors and multiple councils, the city of Holyoke has been told the same thing by the DLS. Our financial structure was fragmented, accountability was unclear, and responsibility was shared in ways that made strong oversight nearly impossible. Again and again, the recommendation was the same, that we modernize, consolidate, and tighten internal controls. The Municipal Modernization Act does exactly that. It creates a finance department led by a CAFO. It aligns budgeting, accounting, treasury, collections, and procurement all under one coordinated team. And it gives the mayor the authority and the responsibility to manage that team. Clear authority creates clear accountability, and clear accountability is how we will rebuild trust between our local government and our community. This is about systems. Our residents expect us to run a fully functional government, to safeguard public dollars, and to plan responsibly for the future. That is our job. And within this vote, the council delivered. Our work is not finished. The council's next role is to advance the necessary charter changes, oversee a careful and transparent transition, and continue our responsibility for strong legislative oversight. In other words, this vote marks a turning point, but the road stretches out in front of us. There's a lot of work to be done, and we are committed to doing it.
Thank you so much, Councilor. And now I will invite up the Chair of our Finance Committee.
I don't think
You
I
don't
need
need this?
that.
No problem. Patty Devine.
Thank you, Mayor. My name is Patty Devine, and I'm an at-large counselor, and I am beyond thrilled that we are finally getting this together. As the mayor has said, the state has been wanting us to do something like this for 20 years, and finally we're getting to do it without obstruction. And I'd also like to thank Councilor Meg McGrath Smith, who is doing a phenomenal job with the ordinances, which is, to me, is very difficult. President Murphy Ramboletti had asked me to chair finance a couple years ago when I first got elected again, and I was a little timid because I wasn't used to being on that committee, but the committee I have is just wonderful, and we work hard, and we know this is the right thing to do, and I certainly want to thank the mayor and everybody else involved that we are finally doing it. It's not going to be obstructed. It's going to be great for the city of Holyoke's finances. And I'd like to thank everybody that's been involved with it. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Councilor. You've heard us speak a little bit about what we're doing today, moving forward with these changes. There's also the stuff behind us, some concerns that have been put out there. And we're going to invite up now our interim city treasurer, Rory Casey, to let us know what's going on.
Yeah, thank you very much. First, what an amazing feeling it is to know that this has finally been passed. This is, as you've heard many times today and many times in the past, this is something the state's been recommending for close to 20 years, and it has been attempted a number of times over that period unsuccessfully. I want to give a special shout out to City Council President Tessa Murphy Ramboletti, who would have loved to have been here today but was unable to attend. It was actually her order on her very first council meeting being elected 2 terms ago that initiated this change, starting with removing the treasurer from being an elected position to being an appointed position. As far as, you know, some of the issues that we faced over the past couple of years, you know, happy to report that we are making great strides recently. Clifton Larson Allen was appointed by the state to come in and assist. This is something that the mayor and I both welcome with open arms. In fact, something that he and I have been in the past attempting to do to bring in that extra support, but previous councils decided that it was not a worthy investment. at that time. So now we are moving forward full steam ahead. The 23 audit is done, 24 is beginning to get underway, and we expect to have 25 wrapped up before the end of this fiscal year as well, which is going to get us back on track, which is the most important thing, so that whomever comes in and is the treasurer collector is not left with the same mess that I inherited and the same mess that previous treasurers have also inherited. So that's going to be done by leveraging technology, reorganizing staff positions, and actually, getting in some additional support. Since the vote last week, we met the very next morning, a number of us as part of the finance team internally, and started putting plans into place to get staff cross-trained, get staff organized for some of the changes that we have coming up in the next few months. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Rory. And so, again, that's, some work behind us that we're catching up. There's also these changes that are going to help us today moving forward. And we're very excited about that. And before we sign the act, we'll open it up for questions. One at a time. No worries. Hey, bro.
Did you talk about the steps to elect or getting a treasurer?
Yeah, so the act with the signing of these acts, Steph, the desire is to consolidate the treasurer collector's office. So posting for the position of the treasurer right now, when we're looking to consolidate and there's a skillful and qualified candidate already in the tax collector position that we want to train up, it would have been a little redundant to post and go through a process not knowing if whether or not so that's why we held off from posting to see what happened with the act, because there were other plans at play. But right now, the mayor does have the powers to appoint on the interim basis up to 2 months. I think Mass General Law says, hey, come on over. And so I've appointed, as we continue to transition, Rory Casey as the interim treasurer until we're ready to finally consolidate.
Thank you.
Aside of the consolidation of 23, which is now complete, 24 and 25, what will be some of the first visible changes and improvements the public can start seeing when this act gets implemented?
Yeah, Rory, you want to tag team this with me?
I'll jump in on this one.
Oh, you want to jump in complete? Go for it.
Yeah, so that's a great question, Johan, because quite honestly, what does any of this mean to the average citizen? And that's the point you're getting to. So what they're going to start seeing is they're going to start seeing city government that is functioning in the 21st century. And the most visible thing that they'll be able to see is when free cash is certified later this fiscal year. And that'll be 2 years worth of free cash, which should be a very healthy amount of free cash for the mayor and the council to appropriate as they see fit, and in accordance with the new financial policies that were codified last year or 2 years ago by the council. Moving forward, what they're going to start seeing is everything being done like clockwork. I think the most visible thing will actually be they won't hear about this in the press any longer. They won't hear about this at council meetings any longer, and they won't hear about this around the kitchen table when they're trying to have a conversation about what exactly is going on with the city's finances, because there's many more important things for folks to be thinking about, right? So when we think about making sure Holyoke is a great place to live, work, and play, when they start seeing better streetscape improvements, when they start seeing better parks to play in, when they start being able to see all the other things that the mayor will be able to start focusing in on, because he's no longer having to wear 3 different hats, that we're going to have a CAFO in place that's going to help oversee the finances of the city, and that we're making strategic investments now to ensure that this doesn't happen in the future, rather than it bubbling up every 5 or so years in a different way.
So just, thanks, actually, that was a really good answer. And to that point, here in our form of government, I often refer to it to as an antiquated form of government. The mayor, the role of the mayor is both inward and outward. The mayor is the city manager, the chief financial officer, the chief executive officer, and also is the outward component, taking care of the public needs, the urgencies when they appear. And so you can only imagine, and this is kind of, I remember when I was running for treasurer, when I talked about, a lot of the issues that we see in our communities, the quality of life issues, is because of our antiquated form of government that doesn't really protect our resources. It doesn't really give the whoever's elected mayor, if you don't know municipal finance or mass general law and you just get thrown into this responsibility to manage all of these things, it puts you backwards. It's the thing that Holyoke couldn't just move forward with. So with these changes here to everything Rory just explained, it's exactly that. And so we hope that with these changes, we can better protect our resources and maximize on our revenue potential so that we can invest on the things that are important to this community. We want to invest in our schools, we want to invest in our infrastructure, we want to invest in public safety, but it's difficult to do that when we have all of these inefficiencies internally that create issues and don't necessarily allow you to be adequate in your response to community needs. So this is the thing that isn't. I remember when we campaigned, I ran a management campaign and I talked about these things, and it's not your traditional things you really hear in the campaign trail, but it's the core important thing that helps everybody. And so I'm very glad that the taxpayers of this city, the voters, saw that, recognized that, acknowledged that, and made sure they put people into these roles to get it done. But very good question. Thank you.
Is there a sense of turning the page coming into effect now? Last year, the energy revolution was starting to emerge, and there's a wealth and a ton of assets here in the city of Holyoke that it feels like you guys have a sense of cohesion now on how the target going forward now.
Yeah, I mean, I think, and feel if anybody wants to jump in, counselors and staff, the culture that we want to establish here is a collaborative one. The system as it's designed depends very heavily on cooperation and minimal opportunity for accountability on many levels. And so with this, we within that framework, we've done the best we could, push things forward and strengthen those partnerships so that we can provide better services and get stuff done. But then there's limitations and setbacks. And so with this framework, this is only going to encourage, strengthen it a whole lot more. Still, the accountability measures, the checks and balances are in place. I know that there's been some concerns out there shared out in the public that we're taking power away from the people, that we're taking power away from the city council. And that's just not true. If anything, I think that it only balances the power between the mayor's office and the council, and the two functions of our government being able to appropriately hold each other accountable. And if voters don't like what they see, then that's our third checks and balance right there at the ballot box. And so I think you're going to see a lot more collaboration, a lot more opportunity for enforcing accountability and being able to communicate broadly to our stakeholders what the issues are and where things might not be working for them to be able to make their own decisions and who they want as councilors, who they want as mayor. So I don't know, did I answer the question? Does anybody else want to add? It was a good question. I think that's a very broad. Okay. April?
Will the public be a part of the hiring process for the CAFO? Like, will it be like a public thing, like for the superintendent and all?
So the way that it's systematically designed on paper, the public is not involved, but the mayor, Josh García, the way I did my police, I mean, I at minimum, it'll be open public interviews, right, with 3 finalists at minimum. But there is no real public involvement, but obviously, like, being in this role for 4 years and listening to some of the concerns. We might even put together a committee. There hasn't been a lot of thought about how the process is going to look.
There's going to be a committee. Yeah.
There is going to be a committee?
Yeah.
You-
Do you want to speak to it, Meg?
Oh, sweet. Meg, you want
Just tippy toe.
Thank you.
So there is a structure in the ordinance
Oh,
itself
there we go.
that
Perfect.
lines out exactly what the hiring process looks like. And so you will have a certain number of city employees that are tasked because the city solicitor, the HR director, another financial officer would be able to know the day-to-day goings-on of the office and have a sense of exactly what the work is going to entail. And then the mayor gets to pick a certain number of people to represent the mayor. And then city council also gets to name a certain number of people. So it's set in the ordinance, there's a set number of people so that there's a balance in terms of who interviews and then chooses who the CAFO will be. And in the ordinance, it says that there has to be at least 2 in order for them to be able to make a recommendation and move it forward, which we did talk about, because what if one person, for example, steps, throughout the, kind of in the middle of the process, like we saw with the chief of police interviews. What if we get almost to the end and one person decides, actually, I've decided not to put my name forward anymore? And in the end, it was, no, this role is so important, actually, that we would want to reopen it and start again. Right? Like, we really do want to make sure that we're getting the right people. That's also why we chose in this ordinance to drop the residency requirement for all of our financial officers. That's probably one of the more significant changes that we voted on as part of this package. And that's because we wanted to make sure that we are widening the pool as much as possible so that we can get the highest qualified candidates. We really need the right people in these roles, especially because they're going to be stepping into them and helping to found these roles, because they're coming in as the first people in these roles. So, thank you.
I missed that part. See, I don't know everything. So, and this is why it's great to have good, strong, collaborative relationship with the council, people who are doing the work. So, go ahead.
So for people who aren't aware of kind of the challenges you guys had in the past before this act that kind of prompted you to kind of respond with such a big consolidation here, what were the main challenges that were coming from residents that they were looking for this action? If that makes sense.
The main challenges that were.
The main challenges, what kind of hindered you guys in the past?
I think I'm missing the question.
No, you're not. No,
We got
Okay.
it. We got it.
No,
Okay, all right.
No, I understand your question. And it's, I think there's about 10 different ways we could answer that. But the reality is this, is that the issues that the city's faced, we've faced off and on for close to 20 years. And there's a cycle, right? We run into a problem, the state comes in and says, here's the roadmap to fix it. And then we don't fix it. And then, a few years, maybe we put a Band-Aid on it. A few years later, another big issue, state comes in again and says, here, we're going to even make it easier for you. We're gonna really just show you exactly how to walk down the path of this roadmap. And then we don't do anything again, maybe put a Band-Aid on it, and a few years later, keeps going and going and going. So it's not so much that the residents themselves, but I do think that the residents have been paying closer attention. I think that this past election, to have this be one of the main issues, municipal finance, in a city the size of Holyoke, with all of the other struggles and opportunities we have, right? For this to be the number one issue, and for them the residents and the voters, to send such a direct message on the direction they were hoping to see all of us move in, was quite clear. And they wanted to see this passed. This past election, the Modernization Act was on the ballot, and the voters voted to see it happen. And so what we have now, with the councilors behind us and also the councilors who are no longer or aren't able to be here today, is them following the will of the voters, enacting this and allowing city to modernize and not have such an antiquated form of government any longer.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other questions?
You mentioned obviously you're looking to fill the CAFO position and then eventually the treasurer collector position. Are there any other vacancies that are in the department, and if so, how are those going to be filled?
You guys want to share the? Do you want to share the structure of the positions?
Yeah, I can, sure. So right now, the two current postings that are up are the auditor position and the CAFO position. This act created a comptroller position, but before we can post that, certain things have to fall into place. So, really, this all had to start with removing the treasurer from being elected. That happened about a year ago. The act passed last week, so now we can start putting all of those other things into action, right? So there will be positions that are going to be open. There are positions that don't currently exist, where we have to talk with some collective bargaining units in order to make sure that everybody's on the same page. But as far as all the positions created by ordinance, right now we have the CAFO and auditor positions open. Once one or both of those are filled, we'll be able to start filling the comptroller position. And then as we start breaking off the responsibilities of the existing treasurer's office, such as payroll and debt management and other functions that will be going to either the comptroller or to the CAFO, that would then allow for the treasurer collector position to be, fully merged and make sure everybody's on the same page. However, that doesn't mean we're waiting. The cross-training has already started. The things that we were able to do immediately after this act passed have started. So we're not waiting. We've desperately been waiting for the council to pass this in order for us to start putting our plans into action.
Hey, bro.
My last question, I promise.
No, it's okay. We said.
This is for you, Mayor Garcia. We've seen some reforms take place at the police department. We've seen this reform about to take place in the finance department. Any more sweeping reforms?
Absolutely.
And you're
Yeah.
And what would they be? What do we look forward?
So as far as city functions, we certainly want to take a deep dive into the Department of Public Works, the DPW, and see what reorganization we can do there. We've learned a lot. I've learned a lot. Personnel director and our city solicitor, we've already can tell you that there are some opportunities for efficiencies there. So we want to tackle that, and then some of it is a little more about supporting responsible and sensible development, being business friendly. So zoning reform is coming, as well as special permitting reform, special permitting of the city council reform is coming. And that was driven largely by the comprehensive planning, a document that's going to be finalized and shared with the public very soon.
Thank you.
Was there any other reforms we talked about? I think those are the key ones, right? Yeah. Any other questions? April and, Jim, Ed? Ed?
Just messing with you, James, yeah.
James. You're joshing me?
Yeah, my better call him, how are you?
I know you guys came in a little late, but make sure if you can take an opportunity to interview the treasurer or the chair of the finance, the chair of ordinance.
Copy your speech,
Yeah, so that way you didn't miss anything. But if there isn't any other questions, we'll go. This is the first time I get to do this.
Yeah.
In this kind of setting. It's the resolute desk. Usually what happens is the council would submit orders, pass laws, everything they discuss comes across my desk. I sign, send it over to our duly elected city clerk's office for it to be official. And so I have here the changes on this day, February 9? February 9, 26. I'll sign that. There we go. That makes it law. Steve, can you please deliver this to our city clerk's office?
Yay.
Yes, Steve.
What a responsibility.
And who wants the pen?
I want the pen.
Meg wants the pen? Okay.
Give me the pen, I'll take the pen.
All right, thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Can you get that manila folder with the,
Thank you, everybody here.
she's been waiting for